National Electrical Code Section 700.12e requires normal and emergency lighting to be fed from the same circuit. This ensures the emergency lighting functions in the event of a normal power outage. However, there is an exception in 700.12f. The exception permits the use of a separate circuit for emergency lighting, but only if the area is an uninterrupted and separate area and is not required by Section 700.12. D. The definition of a separate and uninterrupted area is not explicitly provided in the National Electrical Code. However, it generally refers to a distinct and isolated space within a building that can be isolated from the rest of the building in the event of a power outage. In the case of a retail store, the entire store would not be considered a separate and uninterrupted area. This is because it is not a self-contained space that can be easily isolated from the rest of the building. There are likely multiple lighting circuits feeding the store, and there are potentially other electrical systems and equipment that would need to be disconnected in the event of a power outage. Because the exception in 700.12f does not apply to a typical retail store, the normal and emergency lighting must be fed from the same circuit to comply with 700.12e. As a recommendation, consider connecting all the fluorescent fixtures with backup batteries to a separate circuit that is dedicated to emergency lighting. Ensure that the circuit is clearly identified and labeled for maintenance purposes. This is critical for safety and to ensure compliance with local and national codes. It's important to consult with a qualified electrical engineer or inspector to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. They can provide specific guidance based on the unique characteristics of the building and its electrical systems. Always prioritize safety and compliance when designing and installing emergency lighting systems. The National Electrical Code is updated regularly, so it's important to stay informed of the latest changes and requirements. This will help ensure that electrical systems are safe and reliable. Consider the specific needs of the retail store when designing the emergency lighting system. This includes the size of the store, the layout, and the types of merchandise sold. The emergency lighting system should provide adequate illumination to allow occupants to safely evacuate the building in the event of a power outage. It's also important to consider the aesthetics of the emergency lighting system. The fixtures should be chosen to blend in with the overall design of the store. The emergency lighting system should be tested regularly to ensure that it is functioning properly. This includes testing the backup batteries and the automatic transfer switch. Any problems should be corrected immediately. Proper maintenance of the emergency lighting system is essential for ensuring its reliability. This includes replacing batteries as needed and cleaning the fixtures. A well-designed and maintained emergency lighting system can help to save lives in the event of a power outage. It's a critical component of any commercial building. Always follow the National Electrical Code guidelines and consult with qualified professionals. The location of emergency lights is also critical. They should be placed in areas that will provide the most benefit during an evacuation, such as near exits, stairwells, and corridors. The placement should also consider potential obstructions and shadows that could reduce the effectiveness of the lighting. The type of emergency lighting fixture is another important consideration. There are a variety of options available, including fluorescent, LED, and incandescent. LED fixtures are becoming increasingly popular due to their energy efficiency and long lifespan. The brightness of the emergency light should also be considered. The light should be bright enough to provide adequate illumination, but not so bright that they create glare or discomfort. The National Electrical Code specifies minimum illumination levels for emergency lighting systems. The automatic transfer switch is a critical component of an emergency lighting system. This switch automatically transfers power from the normal source to the backup source in the event of a power outage. The transfer switch should be tested regularly to ensure that it is functioning properly. The backup power source is another critical component of an emergency lighting system. This can be a generator, a battery system, or another source of power. The backup power source should be sized to provide adequate power for the emergency lighting system for the required duration. The duration of the backup power is typically specified by the National Electrical Code or local building codes. It's important to choose a reliable and reputable manufacturer for all components of the emergency lighting system. This will help to ensure that the system is safe and reliable. Proper installation of the emergency lighting system is also essential. The system should be installed by a qualified electrician in accordance with the National Electrical Code and local building codes. After the emergency lighting system is installed, it should be inspected by a qualified inspector to ensure that it meets all applicable codes and regulations. The inspector will typically check the wiring, the fixtures, the automatic transfer switch, and the backup power source. Regular inspections of the emergency lighting system are also important. These inspections should be performed by a qualified electrician or inspector. The inspection should include a visual inspection of the system and a functional test. Any problems should be corrected immediately. The National Electrical Code also requires that emergency lighting systems be documented. This documentation should include a description of the system, the location of the fixtures, the wiring diagrams, and the test results. The documentation should be kept in a safe place and should be readily available for inspection. The National Fire Protection Association also publishes standards for emergency lighting systems. These standards provide guidance on the design, installation, and maintenance of emergency lighting systems. The local building codes may also have requirements for emergency lighting systems. It's important to check with the local building department to determine the specific requirements for the building. The cost of an emergency lighting system can vary depending on the size of the building, the type of system, and the installation costs. It's important to get quotes from several qualified contractors before making a decision. The benefits of an emergency lighting system outweigh the costs. An emergency lighting system can help to save lives in the event of a power outage. It can also help to prevent injuries and property damage. Emergency lighting systems are an essential safety feature for any commercial building. They provide illumination in the event of a power outage, allowing occupants to safely evacuate the building. The National Electrical Code and other standards provide guidance on the design, installation, and maintenance of emergency lighting systems. It's important to follow these guidelines to ensure that the system is safe and reliable. In addition to the technical aspects of emergency lighting systems, it's also important to consider the human factors. The emergency lighting system should be designed to be easy to understand and use. The fixtures should be located in areas that are easily accessible and visible. The controls for the system should be clearly labeled. The emergency lighting system should also be designed to minimize the risk of panic. The lighting should be uniform and should not create shadows or glare. The system should also be designed to avoid creating confusion or disorientation. Regular training should be provided to employees and the operation of the emergency lighting system. This training should include instructions on how to activate the system, how to evacuate the building, and how to assist others. The training should also cover the potential hazards associated with a power outage. A well-designed and maintained emergency lighting system can help to create a safe and secure environment for occupants of a building. It's an important investment that can help to save lives. It's also important to remember that emergency lighting systems are just one component of a comprehensive safety plan. A complete safety plan should also include fire alarms, sprinkler systems, and other safety features. The safety plan should be reviewed and updated regularly to ensure that it is effective. By following these guidelines, you can help to ensure that your building is safe for all occupants. The type of occupancy also affects the requirements for emergency lighting. For example, hospitals and nursing homes have more stringent requirements than office buildings or retail stores. This is because hospitals and nursing homes have a higher concentration of people who may need assistance during an evacuation. The height of the building also affects the requirements for emergency lighting. High-rise buildings typically have more stringent requirements than low-rise buildings. This is because high-rise buildings have a longer evacuation time. The complexity of the building also affects the requirements for emergency lighting. Complex buildings with multiple exits and stairwells may require more emergency lighting than simple buildings. The local authorities having jurisdiction, or OJ, have the final say on the requirements for emergency lighting. The AHJ may adopt the National Electrical Code or other standards, or they may develop their own requirements. It's important to check with the AHJ to determine the specific requirements for the building. The emergency lighting system should be designed to meet the needs of the occupants of the building. This includes people with disabilities. The Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, requires that buildings be accessible to people with disabilities. This includes providing adequate emergency lighting for people with visual impairments. The emergency lighting system should be designed to be energy efficient. This can be achieved by using LED fixtures and by using occupancy sensors. Occupancy sensors can turn off the emergency lights when they are not needed. The emergency lighting system should be designed to be easy to maintain. This can be achieved by using long-lasting fixtures and by providing easy access to the components of the system. The emergency lighting system should be designed to be vandal-resistant. This is especially important in public buildings. Vandal-resistant fixtures can help to prevent damage to the system. The emergency lighting system should be designed to be aesthetically pleasing. This is important in buildings where the appearance of the system is a concern. There are many different types of emergency lighting fixtures available that can be used to create a system that is both functional and aesthetically pleasing. The emergency lighting system should be designed to be cost-effective. This can be achieved by using energy-efficient fixtures and by minimizing the installation costs. The emergency lighting system should be designed to be reliable. This is the most important consideration. The system should be designed to operate reliably in the event of a power outage. This can be achieved by using high-quality components and by providing regular maintenance. In summary, designing an emergency lighting system involves considering many factors, including the National Electrical Code, the type of occupancy, the height of the building, the complexity of the building, the local authorities having jurisdiction, the needs of the occupants, energy efficiency, maintainability, vandal resistance, aesthetics, cost-effectiveness, and reliability. By carefully considering all of these factors, you can design an emergency lighting system that is safe, reliable, and effective. Remember to consult with qualified professionals, including electrical engineers, electrical contractors, and building inspectors, to ensure that the emergency lighting system meets all applicable codes and standards. Proper planning, design, installation, and maintenance are essential for ensuring the safety of building occupants during a power outage.